This episode of the ZuLoo Poodcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.
So our main focus is the medical toilet, right? But our toilet still has to flush. Yep. So we need to test our toilets to flush, and I thought it would be fun to show you. There is a standardized fake poop in the industry.
Get out.
Yeah, this is it. You can touch it.
Kind of looks like a Tootsie Roll.
Yeah. A cold Tootsie Roll.
That is truly like you guys need to touch it. It's such an odd texture.
Is that just wrapped in?
It's just wrapped in like a little dissolvable.
It's awful. I can't. It's crazy.
Is there an age rating on your?
Right.
Is there an age rating on your podcast?
I can't.
Latex casing shall be made from non-lubricated latex condoms.
Well, there you go.
So
we're
that's
flushing
what it's cased in.
miso paste in condoms.
That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to the ZuLoo Poodcast, where we talk all things poop, toilets, and sanitation. Through insightful news, impact stories, and quirky humor, we aim to discuss and highlight the critical role toilets play in whisking poop out of our lives, the impact toilets have, or lack thereof, in the health and wellness of humanity, and what ZuLoo is doing to help solve the current global sanitation crisis.
Hey everybody, welcome to the special episode of the ZuLoo Poodcast video blog. I don't know what we're doing. If you're listening, stop what you're doing and just go to YouTube and watch this episode. We are here at Hall Labs, back with Michael Hall and Jocelyn. Say hi. Hi.
Hello.
We're so excited. I don't know if you can capture this, but like, Michael, how tall are you?
6'5".
I'm 5 foot, so we got a 1.5 feet between us just about. So, Michael, tell us a couple of things that we're going to see today.
So one of the biggest ones is Medic. That's one of the companies that's here within the lab, and they are harvesting data that normally gets flushed down the toilet. So,
Sounds like something we're interested in.
yeah, there's a lot of value, lots of medical information that can be got from the toilet.
I also heard something about diamonds.
Yeah, so this is a diamond press. So this is one of the, when my grandparents moved back to Provo, when he became a professor at Brigham Young University, he wanted to keep working in high pressure research. So he had to create an invention to get around his first invention at GE. This is a tetrahedral press, one of the first ones that went together. And it makes diamond just like Superman did. So for his girlfriend, right? So high pressure, high temperature, you can turn carbon into diamond.
And what year was that?
Oh, the discovery was in 1954. So this would have been in the 60s, really where the lab got its start. So my grandfather described this just as an overwhelming experience. Yeah, as he one of those first samples. Everybody else had left for the Christmas break, and he was in the lab. And after one of the runs, he broke open the cell. His eyes caught the light of this glitter, and he had to sit down and really compose himself. He knew finally that diamond had been made by man.
Wait, and that was like at Christmas? Best Christmas present ever?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Christmas? Yay, diamonds for Christmas. If you ever do decide to make lots of jewelry, I think that's a really good idea. Just putting it out there.
We're here for it. We'll be your first recipients. Yeah.
Test it on these two tiny ladies.
Okay, but on to toilets. I mean, that's why we're here.
From diamonds to toilets. Take us through that journey.
So this is Medic here. Within the lab, we've been working on poop and wastewater before Bill Gates thought it was cool. So actually, when I moved back from Detroit 10, 12 years ago, I worked on toilets, and half the project split off and became Medic, where you got a bunch of sensors in there, and John can teach us more about this.
So most people are familiar with the idea here. You know, everybody's used a toilet.
Can you demonstrate it for us? I'm not sure I am.
So the concept here is to gather medical data in the toilet. It's not all that much unlike a lot of wearables, the Fitbit, the smartwatch, the Apple Watch, those, except you have to remember to put those on. And I don't know anybody who forgets to use the toilet in the morning, right? So we've got that covered. In the seat on this toilet, we measure a variety of cardiovascular indicators. We measure your blood oxygen saturation, just the same as they do with the finger cuff at the hospital. We measure EKG. We measure heart rate. We are working on measuring blood pressure as well. We don't have that quite yet. As you urinate into the toilet, we capture a bit of your urine, and we look at, right now we're able to measure 8 analytes with good enough accuracy to be a screening test. So we can look at specific gravity, glucose, potassium, urea, uric acid, chlorides, and a couple others. So we look at that. We measure body temperature. As your urine runs across the wall of the toilet, we measure the urine temperature. And so we can see fevers as they develop.
So then with all of that amazing stuff that you can tell, does it give you like a printout or a readout, or how does that information get delayed?
Good question. Good question. So it's app connected. So you pull out your phone and, within a couple minutes of using the toilet, here's what happened in the bathroom. Just when you think you're alone, right? So it goes to an app, and the app is designed to share that information with your doctor if you get permission for that. We're targeting assisted living facilities as a primary first customer for this product. So in that context, it would go to the caregiver at the facility, to the wellness director at the facility, and also if it's your elderly parent, you could be granted access to see how mom or dad is doing as well.
That's incredible. I had no idea that you could get all of that information from this process.
We flush a lot of data down the toilet every day.
Can it tell you if you're pregnant?
That is a potential feature on the roadmap, yeah.
Okay. Just curious. That would be amazing too. Okay, wow. All right, so tell us the difference between these two toilets here.
Sure. So the toilet here on the left is the toilet that we're taking to market soon, within the next year. And so the features we talked about there are there. This is a concept for a next generation product. It has everything that was in here, but in addition, we have cartridges that can be put in the front or taken out. And so we get more detail, more diagnostic style tests with these. We had a COVID test within a couple weeks of the outbreak of the pandemic in 2020. And so we have technology that could go in. There are fragments of the viral RNA that end up in urine. And so we could detect that sort of thing. We could have an influenza panel that, let's see, forget what we have down here.
Are each one of these cartridges for something specific? Like
Yes.
one's for COVID, one's for flu?
Yes, that's correct. So here's our mock COVID chip here. We have a pain management, are you using your pain meds properly type cartridge. We have a UTI scan. We have a chronic kidney disease scan. We have a cardiovascular disease scan. And, this is concept. This is not developed yet. Like I said, this is a couple years out, but we have technology on the benchtop in our labs that we can deploy into this type of a toilet.
That's incredible. It feels so sci-fi. Is the end goal like this will be in everyone's home? You said you were starting with assisted living centers. It seems like a no-brainer to have this in hospitals, but could we have this in our house in the future?
Absolutely, yeah. So assisted living facilities are a good first market because those people, at that age, you tend to be more sick, right? But yes, it could be in anybody's home. The applications for early detection of developing diseases, we haven't pushed this yet, but there's possibility to do early screening tests for cancers. You mentioned pregnancy tests. There could be fertility, cycle tracking, pregnancy testing, prostate health for men, early detection of that, those types of problems developing. So yes, this could be a widespread consumer product. So in the seat, these are pulse oximeter sensors here. That's the same as what goes on your finger when you put on the finger cuff at the hospital. So it shines light up through your skin on the back of your thigh, and different amounts of light are absorbed based on the blood flow through the blood vessels under the skin there. So from that, we can see heart rate and blood oxygen saturation. these metal leads here are electrocardiogram. So you may have seen people with electrical leads strapped onto their chest. So it's that. We're measuring the electrical signal output by the muscles in your heart using that. Looking inside the toilet, this slit here is where we capture a bit of urine. We shine light through the urine, and we measure the wavelengths of light that are absorbed using a spectrometer. That's an instrument that just measures the intensity of different wavelengths of light across a certain light spectrum. So we shine all the light wavelengths through, and some get absorbed, and which wavelengths are absorbed tell us about what is in the urine. So that's how we analyze urine in this one. And in contrast, the newer product the future product that we looked at over there, we have the cartridges that go in. So that's more detailed or more specific testing for targeted disease states than what we have in the spectrometer. Down here, there's it's small, and it's intentionally small. It's hard to see. There's a little temperature probe that pokes up right there. That's where we measure the urine temperature. One thing that you can't see because it's hidden underneath the shroud is a set of valves and a sensor that tells us the liquid level in the bowl. So that's how we get urine flow rate and total urine volume. We haven't talked about this yet, but we measure.
I don't know why those are important, but they sound like they should be very important.
Yeah. I'm curious. Tell us more.
If I've never been to a urologist myself, but that's what a urologist does. They measure the flow rate and the total volume that you put out. It can be an indicator of dehydration. It can also be an indicator of developing prostate issues. It can be an indication of a urinary tract infection. If rather than one continuous stream of urine, if it's coming out in small segments or in smaller volumes, if someone's retaining urine, that can be a sign of a urinary tract infection. So high volumes of urination and more frequent can be a sign of early stage developing diabetes. So it's relevant. The volume and the rates have a variety of medical applications.
So your plan is to put all urologists out of a job?
No. Our plan is to give all urologists more data.
Oh, okay.
So they can do a better job. Yeah.
I mean, as a mom, I can see why this would be so advantageous to have in your house. There are so many times when you don't know how serious your kid's sickness is, and if you need to run them to the doctor. So just having that real-time information would be so reassuring. And I can imagine, I mean, that would be across the board for your parents, your aging parents. This is incredible technology.
Yeah, and just like how helpful for your medical professional too, right? Because some of us just aren't very good at giving information to our doctors, and they can ask and ask and ask, but like sometimes we don't give the best details,
and sometimes we just don't know.
And sometimes we just
Our
don't
toilet
know.
is now smarter than we are about what's coming out of our bodies.
Thank goodness.
Speaking of the interaction with the doctor, you typically go and have a physical exam with the doctor once a year, right? Mm-hmm. And it may be that there's something, the doctors will do a urine test, right? You pee in the cup and they do the dipstick. And maybe that day things look great, but you actually have a problem that is showing up intermittently that you don't see in that annual scan. And so this, with regular scans, you have more data, you have continuous data, and you can share that with the doctor.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I'm processing. My mind is just like, it's lighting up.
Yeah.
It just is thinking of so many things. So
can I have one?
So our main focus is the medical toilet, right? But our toilet still has to flush. Yep. So we need to test our toilets to flush, and I thought it would be fun to show you. There is a standardized fake poop in the industry.
Get out.
Yeah, this is it. You can touch it.
Kind of looks like a Tootsie Roll.
Yeah. A cold Tootsie Roll. You
I
like
can't
it?
explain the texture, you guys.
Take a look in the bucket.
Oh my gosh.
So 5 gallons of fake poop right there.
Wow.
It's mostly miso paste. Yeah.
Miso
So soybean.
So you can eat it, Kelsey.
Yeah, take a taste.
I'm a pass on that.
Soybean, rice, salt, ethyl alcohol. So maybe not.
You come in here and bake yourself up a batch every morning?
Yeah. We'll skip that story.
That is truly like you guys need to touch it. It's such an odd texture.
Is that just wrapped in?
It's just wrapped in like a little dissolvable.
It's awful. I can't. It's crazy.
Is there an age
Jocelyn
rating
wants to
on
take
your?
it with her.
Is there an
She's
age
like-
rating on your podcast?
I can't.
Latex casing shall be made from non-lubricated latex condoms.
Well, there you go.
So
So we're
that's
flushing
what it's cased in.
miso paste in condoms.
That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's a couple other things related to this on the floor here. What are we looking at here?
So we're looking at a floor scale. It's a big, oversized floor scale. When I measure my weight, I have to remember to do it in the morning. I take the scale out of the closet, I put it on the floor, and I have one of the old boring ones. I actually write down on a note card what my weight was. I don't have the internet connected scale, but this is. There are plenty of internet connected scales out there, but you still have to remember to take them out and stand on them. This is large enough as you approach the toilet. There's no way that you miss it. You stand on the scale, it measures your weight, and you don't have to think about it, right? You asked if you can turn it off, right? You're not thinking about it. You're just using the toilet, right? And
People will avoid using the toilet so they don't have to step on it.
maybe. But the idea is that it's completely passive. When you want to know the data, you can look at it. And if you don't want to know because Thanksgiving's coming up or whatever, you just don't look at it, right? But it's there. The data's there. It's been collected passively, and you have it.
Gotcha. So, I mean, literally every time you go to the bathroom, you will know so many things about yourself that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise, but that could almost save your life.
Yes. Yeah. That's all correct. It's a great piece of technology.
Hall Labs, everybody, saving lives.
This is a concept car. It's a concept toilet. So this was built for a convention a couple years ago. It's non-functional. It's a very future-looking thing. We call it alternately the Super Lav or the Jetsons toilet, or because it looks like it, right? So a lot of the same ideas that we looked at in the other toilets are here. A lot of the same technology is in the seat and in the bowl. There are, again, concepts here. It's a non-functional thing. A shelf here where the feces is trapped, and we can do a spectrometric analysis of the feces. We have the concept here of separating the urine and the feces. The urine goes out the front of the bowl, feces out the back. This toilet also, it's not plugged in right now, but it's a seat lifter. So if you have as you get older, it's harder to get on and off.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for people who were under 5'4".
That would be helpful for us too. Let's be real.
So the whole seat in a motorized way will lift up. It will help the patient stand back up, and will help them sit down. Down here, this is a $10,000 squatty potty down here, motorized, lift your feet up. There's also capacity for imagery down here, so taking pictures of feet, and we've done some demonstration testing of identifying poor circulation in feet, identifying swelling or edema in feet, and just the idea of saying, well, what else, when you're on the toilet, what else can we see? What else can we do? And so this toilet overall is just a broad-reaching, what are the other possibilities of what you could do with a toilet?
That is max efficiency right there.
Seriously, yeah. It's got me thinking about all the things I've
Yeah.
never thought about when I'm.
Could
on
someone
the
do my
toilet.
hair while I'm sitting here too?
Yeah, you need something up the back. for
Yeah.
that,
Or massaging your shoulders.
Oh.
We've got ideas for days if you guys are running out.
Okay, we want to try it out. Can we try it out, John?
Go ahead.
Okay.
So take a seat.
Everybody says real-time experience, so I've pinky promised to be very careful on this. Launch me.
Seat backs and tray tables in their full and upright box position, right?
That's right. Oh, but that's okay. We want this too. So this is futuristic squatty potty. How's my position look, everybody?
Looks great.
Feels great. Yeah.
And so then cameras are mounted here and here. Just take pictures of your kicks now.
Yeah. I'm not barefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put that back down. Just keep your feet where they are.
Sure.
the right button this time.
It's pretty cool. Whoa. I might not be tall enough for this. Something we didn't think about. Just want everybody to know, I am only 5 feet tall. Trying to stick with the experiment here.
There we go.
10
the
points!
intent here is when you stood up, it stopped moving, right?
Oh, did I? Oh, see, is
Yeah,
it going back down now?
And that's right? You got the amount of help that you needed to stand
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
And once you were up on your own, it stopped, and now it'll return back to its home position.
that's great.
So if you only need 4 inches of help getting up, and you stand up there, it stops and says, "Okay, you're up. Good job," and goes back home.
That is pretty sweet.
So the way the lifter's designed, you can get lifters aftermarket on toilet now, and they just follow a single profile path or whatever. This one actually, the way we've designed it with these 3 pistons here, the profile you stand up in is actually programmable and learnable. So you were too short for it because it was going for a tall person, but the way these are set up, we can push the pistons at different rates, and we could lift you up, even though you're short.
That's pretty cool.
So as was mentioned before, we do a lot of machine learning. So we need to teach the toilets what they're sensing. And so that's what this is. This is a whole bunch of toilets. You don't want to just learn. You don't want to do machine learning or AI on just one. You need a lot of hardware so it'll learn the right things.
Tell us, like, what the process is. Like, what are you tossing in there to help them
Yeah. So
understand?
what's happening is there's samples coming in. We used to do a lot of this right inside the lab. Now we're getting samples in from other hospitals and different places, and we're putting the sample through this analyzer, this kind of hospital grade ground truth, and we're putting those same parts of that same urine samples in all of these toilets, so that we can see the sensors in these toilets are going to say, here's the answer I have, and we're comparing that to the ground truth. So this is about machine learning. Yeah, this is teaching the models what that spectrometer and the different sensors, teaching that the right way so it gets the right answers for the data.
Loving the Lord of the Rings names. Here we've got Rivendell, Quickbeam, Pippin, Numenor. They're beautiful. Morgoth. He probably misbehaves the most, that one. Okay, so you've brought us back to another part of the lab, and you mentioned Project Blackwater, which is what we talked about in a previous ZuLoo Poodcast episode. Bring the two together for me. How does this relate? Is this where that magic happened?
Yeah, correct. So we're calling the overall project Everflow, and trying to deal with blackwater and gray water. Blackwater's, the stuff that's coming out of the toilets. And so, we have, this is some of the equipment, and we have, I brought the sample last time that we were excited about, and we've gotten a bit further. So we've got a furnace here that can get us to really high temperatures. We can go up to about 1100 C. And then this is a vessel. It's made out of Inconel. It's a special kind of steel alloy. And this is what we're putting. We have a freezer full of dog poop. Not an analog. Here we use the real thing. So that's why I have the biohazard on there. And we clamp this down, and so this goes up to pressure and temperature. Not high enough to make diamonds out of this, but it does get us into that a range. We've been going to 600 C and maybe 4,000 or 5,000 psi. So high pressure, high temperature, and we are getting some good results out of this. Where when we crack it open, we've got clear water and really black dust. We're working on you can't smell as much anymore, and so we've been trying to get the odor down, but yeah, you can see some of our samples over here. Some more brown, kind of copper looking than others, but some of these latest ones getting up to 600 degrees. This is after it's dried out. So here's some of the water that comes from it. But so after this process, we'd be able to filter out and dry out the carbon, and then the water. Our plan would be for for a toilet, that water would come in and be flush water. So we're not going to try to drink it. We're not going there, but we're trying to get it to where it's low enough odor and it's clear enough that we could use it right in their toilet. And the exciting thing to me about that is you think of like national parks or off-grid or developing nations, you could have a flush toilet because that's the luxury, right? We've used like the pit, vault toilets, in the national parks, and it's gross. So you could have, and the neat thing is like, where do you get the water? The user brings it, right? So the person is putting a lot of water in here, and so if we process this right, we will end up with enough water to run our. So really, we just need energy, and then beyond that, we'd be able to. And then there would be a little bit of this carbon that every so often somebody would have to take out, and but this can be placed on the ground as a soil amendment. It's char.
I mean, that is the direction the world is heading, is how can we reuse, repurpose, right? And make something so sustainable that it's just all that you need. And that's this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So cool.
So, Michael, we have had an incredible day here at Hall Labs. We've seen all kinds of inventions and machines. And I don't know, what was your favorite part, Kelsey?
Oh my gosh, I think probably touching the synthetic poop, honestly. That I can't.
That was her favorite part. Michael, what was your favorite part?
Well, I'm glad that you're interested in this stuff. I mean, normally this is the type of thing that's, don't bring it up at dinner. And now, I mean, within the lab, there's no shame talking about subjects like this. So I'm happy to, if you want to talk about toilets.
You're safe with this crowd. We want to talk about toilets and everything related to them all day long. I do have one final question, if that's okay. How long until you can turn poop into diamonds?
Well, check back with us.
Stay tuned, folks.
Thank you for listening to the ZuLoo Poodcast. Follow us on social media at our links in the show notes below. To learn more, visit our website, ZuLoo.org. If you liked the podcast, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. For even more ZuLoo fun, send us an email with your toilet stories to podcast@ZuLoo.com for a chance to be featured on the podcast. This episode of the ZuLoo Poodcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.